dig it, I get a was it, a was it, oh. Any music you hear on here, I don't own the rights to. just in case. Nah, I mean. I'll be listening to some Zaza. You don't want you with no ducks. You want you guys. Stickers. Mercy. But I did so getting van.
Withdraw now from the invisible pounding and weaving of your ingrained ideas. If you want to be rid of this invisible turmoil, you must just sit through it and let go of everything. Attain fulfillment and illuminate thoroughly. Light and shadow, all together forgotten. Drop off your own skin, and the sense dust will be fully purified. The eye then readily discerns the brightness. Wander into the center of the circle of wonder. Casually mount the sounds and straddle the colors while you transcend listening and surpass watching. Sing before the spirits and dance with the earth deities, and you will be able to compose your own tune. Then you and I, united, will clap hands joyously, singing tum tiddly tum tiddly tum. Serenity is the final word of all the teachings. Reflection is the response to all manifestations. In stillness and serenity, words are forgotten. What is before me appears in bright clarity. Looking closely, things become spacious. Feeling deeply, life becomes vibrant. Life's vibrancy is bright of itself. This brightness reveals the wonder. Moonlight in the dew, stars in a river, snow on the pines, clouds on a peak. Through darkness, things are bright, and through concealment, they are ever more manifest. A crane dreaming in the winter mist, autumnal waters sounding from afar. Endless kalpas are utterly empty, and all is totally the same. When wonder dwells within the stillness, striving is forgotten within the brightness. What is this wonder? Seeing through confusion, awake and with clarity. practice of stillness and bright awareness is the foundation for setting the subtlest appearance free. Truly seeing the subtlest thing, it is set free. Like a golden shuttle through a loom of dark jade. The true and the partial yield to one another. Light and darkness bring each other forth. When neither subject nor object is relied upon, at such basic time they merge, and we drink the medicine of right views and beat the poison clearing drum. All things originate from the mind. When the whole mind is silent, all appearances end. Which is other? Which is self? When there is no sign of differentiation, not even a single atom can be established. When not a single thought is born, you penetrate through before the womb and after the skin bag. One point of inconceivable illumination, whole and undifferentiated, without corners, edge, or traces that cannot be dimmed. What cannot be dimmed is called inherent knowledge. The point of inherent knowledge is called the fundamental endowment. realize all things are empty. You are free in all states of mind. And penetrate beyond through every atom of dust. The primordial beam of light pervades everywhere and transforms according to the energies and situations. Everything it meets is the source, subtly illuminating all things. Empty. The wind in the pines and the moon in the water respond outwardly without getting confused. Live in clear harmony without a wandering mind, not sticking anywhere. With a mind like spring-bearing flowers, like a mirror reflecting images. In the midst of floods of tumult, you will naturally stand serene above it all. When your state is thoroughly peaceful and your livelihood is cool and serene, you will see the emptiness of the ages. There is nothing to be troubled by, nothing that can obstruct. Empty, absolute, and radiant. Clear, complete, and shining. It clearly exists for all ages, never dimmed. If you want to remain tranquil, cover and uphold in the same way as sky and earth, appearing or disappearing, shutting down or opening up. All are up to you. Clean, pure, perfectly clear. The power of the eye cannot reach its bounds. still, silent, empty, and vast. The ken of the mind cannot find its edges. One who investigates sincerely and really arrives considers this the fundamental ground. Neither Buddhas nor demons can enter. Neither dust nor dirt can defile it. There is utterly no way to study this matter. The essence lies in emptying and opening body and mind so they are as vast as space. Then you will naturally be complete everywhere. This awareness cannot be dimmed. This clarity cannot be confused. The moon follows the flowing waters. The rain goes with the moving clouds. Each and every sense and sensation is immediate and absolute. Therefore, it was said that a saint has no self. But there is nothing that is not themselves. It is so obvious, so clear. You realize that gathered in or let out, it has become a white bull on an open ground, which you cannot drive away, even if you try. The important function for Buddha after Buddha, and the pivotal moment for ancestor after ancestor, is to know it without stirring anything up. And to be illumined without without setting up an opposite. When one knows it without stirring anything up, such knowing is naturally humble. When one is illumined without setting up an opposite, such illumination is naturally subtle. Since that knowing is naturally humble, there is never a discriminating thought. Since that illumination is naturally subtle, there is never the least outward sign of it. Since there is never a discriminating thought, that knowing is wondrous. With nothing left to be dealt with, since there is never the least outward sign of it, that illumination is complete. With nothing left unrealized, the water is now so clear you can see to its depths. As fish swim by at their leisure, the sky is now so clear it is boundless. As birds fly off, leaving no trace.
Is your mind secretly sabotaging your success? What if there was a way you could instantly stop self-sabotage and repurpose?
Old Man Cheng said, I, Old Cheng, do not do anything to maintain, modify, or change the course of things by following the desires of the individual mind. Let there be neither distrust nor revolt, but only the necessary act. If I behave in a different way with you, it is so that you might, at last, by yourselves, directly see original spirit, instead of always seeking it through the mediation of dead fellows, or by running after scatterbrains like me. My own manner, indeed, is to shake you like saplings in the mountain wind. Thus, I break up all your struts and props, leaving you all undone, with nothing more to hold on to. But since I break up all that you rely upon, filling you with fear, you say, to reassure yourselves, that I sin against the law and convention, and am but a vile blasphemer. So you go on desperately clinging to appearances and accessories, instead of letting them depart from you by themselves, without striving to hold on to them. My work words find no echo in you. So I play a trick on you and tell you they come from a great and famous fellow who's been dead for centuries. But you still do not understand that they are your direct and immediate concern. On the contrary, you seize on them as something precious, good for keeping and to cultivate. Bald heads, by holding on to futilities, you simply waste your life away, and the evidence of original spirit slips through your fingers. What a shipwreck for you. Nitwits, original spirit does not appear when sleep leaves you, and does not disappear when sleep comes to you. Original spirit is nothing, and is totally independent of that which changes and dies. If original spirit were truly your sole occupation, you would see all that alters and dies in the same way that you perceive the movements that dancers give to their streamers, and would resolve to constantly seek that which in you neither varies nor dies. And once you find it, then not one of the 1,000 worlds could divert you in your thoughts for an instant of a flash, or in the slightest degree make you stray from it in your actions. You believe you aspire to original spirit, but you only actually seek the satisfaction of a condition of learning and of merit. Because of this, nincompoops, you are entirely under the fascination of all that in you and outside of you is not steadfast and just dies. That is why the sayings of old Chen simply go through you without making an impression, like the birds which leave no trace in the sky. Bald pates, all that you think and say concerning original spirit is but the erring and wandering of your own puny little minds. To that which nature spontaneously brings you, you respond only after interpreting it through all the words of those that you have put up on a pedestal above yourselves. Baldies, this being as artificial as the dragons made for festivals. How can you hope to see original spirit in its spontaneity? my youth, I went all around the land, spending my time in study and practices. I associated with those who had strayed, and imagining they had found the light, did nothing but cause others to stray. Then I met him who enabled me to see all the useless mud I bore with me. The way of truth appeared to me. An original spirit became my sole occupation. And one day, everything suddenly collapsed into awareness. I, old Chen, do not imitate so-and-so or such and such a one. I hold to no belief, no school of thought do I follow. No one's disciple am I. In my true nature, I know nothing. I own nothing. I am nothing. For there is no old Chen there. In the ordinary way, the things in which I take part of themselves just flow by, pass away on their own. Even original spirit is no longer my concern. The words I speak to you come not from that which is learnt. Shaved scales, I have hidden nothing from you. What profit is there for you? Nothing but stuff and nonsense. Original spirit has ever been present under your very eyes. You need acquire nothing to see it, because you have never lacked anything for seeing it. If you are incapable of seeing it, it is because of your unceasing chatter with yourselves and with others. You spend your time supposing, comparing, computing, developing, explaining, justifying, and quoting what your puny minds have retained and thought they understood of the scriptures and of the words of old jackasses like me, giving preference to sayings from those to whom, after their death, were given such authority as to put them beyond all doubts. In these circumstances, how can you hope to see original spirit in its instantaneousness? Dumbbells, because you are as agitated as a wagon load of monkeys and spend your time in futilities. Your existence passes by murky, muddy water. No outlet for you. To say that original spirit is not sheer void without factual existence, that is just words. In thinking about original spirit lies your poison. Giving up this thought and thinking of the absence of this thought, there again lies your poison. Lame brains, you are ever seeking with your thought, and you do nothing but fabricate thoughts. Thinking that original spirit can be seen by means of thought, that is where you perish. Burning incense, reciting sutras, spending time bowing to the ground and concentrating on staying perfectly still, fixing or eliminating thought. This is where you stray. Numbskulls, you are always intervening, and you do nothing but keep acting thus and so, hoping to see original spirit by means of actions. That is your illusion. Venerating the Buddha, that is the evil of attachment. Rejecting the Buddha, that is the evil of impiety. Dolts, you are ever bent on expressing emotions, and you do nothing but produce sentiment. Believing one can see original spirit by means of sentiment, there is your mistake. Dimwits, you are convinced you will come to see original spirit in this manner, but it is you and you alone that you will catch. Never, do you hear? Never can original spirit be found that way. You fail to hear my words because you wish to remain deaf, and you do not see original spirit because you wish to remain blind. There is no hope for you. When you consider the thoughts of others as something precious and sacred, and learn, recite, and transcribe them with great care and veneration in order to transmit them as a great secret, that is what I call being chained up under the thoughts. When you cultivate the thoughts of your puny mind, looking on them as something rare, worthy of being preserved, and giving vent to a whore's irritability if they are not respected, or if in the restating of them the slightest mistake is made, that is what I call being chained up by thoughts. When others' thoughts and your own appear to you as the waves of the sea, which come and go, without any one of them being better or worse than the others, and without a single one affecting you, yet you hold to the one thought of having attained a state of perfect calm. This is what I call erring above thoughts. When no thought any longer holds your attention, because evidence is born that, in regard to original spirit, there is nothing to keep and nothing to be obtained by thought. This is what I call being on the threshold of original spirit. To be in non-time, non-place, non-form, non-movement, and non-thought, and to know what is perceived in the absence of any perception. This is what I call seeing original spirit. When you have studied all the scriptures and every treatise of every patriarch, when you have met all the awakened ones and mastered all the practices and mysterious forces, if you do not see original spirit, even if you have become summits of spirituality, of holiness, and of science, your life, nincompoops, will never be other than a futile amusement. Regarding the words traced on this scroll, which I have just read, if I tell you they are from the Buddha, you look upon them as sacred, and you are filled with veneration and fear. If I tell you they are from Bodhidharma, or from another great patriarch, you are filled with admiration and respect. If I tell you they are by an unknown monk, you no longer know what to think, and you're filled with doubt. If I tell you they come from the monk in the kitchen, You burst out laughing, thinking I had just played a trick on you. Thus, what counts for you is not the truth that these words bear, but only the importance to be granted them, according to the fame of the one from whom they are said to have come. You are incapable of seeing for yourselves, but only feel what you think should be felt, and think according to the opinions of those you have placed on a pedestal. You are forever adding to things, tainting them and falsifying them. And that is why you are powerless to see original spirit without reference to who or whatever it might be. Nincompoops, you are nothing but fakes and tricksters. Your case is hopeless. You have heard it said that in order to see original spirit, your puny mind must be empty. So there you sit, rigid as a bamboo stick, looking at the wall, your tongue against your palate, striving to put a stop to your thoughts. You thus come to an absence of thoughts, which you take for the vacuity of original spirit. The very next moment, the turmoil of your petty mind starts up again, just as it does when you come out of sleep. In the absence of thought, what do you gain? And if a flash of light shakes you, there you go, prancing like a young horse, bellowing that you have seen original spirit, that you have experienced something immense, and that you were greatly privileged. What advantage is there in being struck as if by lightning? All of that is a nice performance, just good enough for a circus. All these, if you persist in your mania and your pretense at wanting to attain and possess whatever it might be, yours is a lost cause. To see original spirit is to see it whether thoughts are present or absent, whether one is motionless or active, whether one speaks as I am doing before you, or whether one is silent, whether one is an emperor, a monk, or a vagrant. What importance is there in such things? between the Buddha and the uncouth, illiterate monk who can do nothing but chop wood, but who sees original spirit? What difference is there? There is no original spirit special to Bodhidharma and another special to Old Chen, or to each one of you. Original spirit is original spirit. Nothing else can be said about it. And even that is saying too much. What others have said concerning original spirit, and what I say of it, can be of no other use to you, other than to incite you to directly seek it yourselves, without resorting to any outside authorities, and without artfulness. All the rest just blurs your vision and turns you away from the only question which should entirely possess you, wherever you might be and whatever you might be doing: meditating, sweeping the yard, or attending to the private requirements of nature. But when I see what you do with the sayings of the patriarchs and with mine, it would have been better if the patriarchs had been drowned at birth and me along with them. Dolts, you have caught a deadly disease. Shaved heads, the world and you are nothing other than thoughts of the individual mind, since both disappear when sleep overtakes you. This is equally true of all the old tattery notions of your puny mind regarding the Buddha, the way, and original spirit. Once and for all, understand the uselessness of all your efforts to penetrate the impenetrable by thought and action. You might as well try to capture the wind. But if you are unencumbered, entirely available to original spirit, then you will be directly seized by it. Having heard speak of the void as being the supreme accomplishment, you seek to attain it. Thus, you fall into the torpor and insensitivity which you take for the vacuity of original spirit. Having heard speak of the Absolute as being the ultimate state, imagine that all things are equal and that none is worthy of respect. Thus, you fall into the rakishness and anarchy, which you take for the oneness of original spirit. Having heard speak of purity as being complete happiness, you strive to attain it. Thus, you fall into a die-hard attitude of rigidity, which you take the transparency of original spirit. Having heard speak of detachment as being the only freedom, you try to become separate from the world and from yourselves. Thus, you fall into indifference, which you take the independence of original spirit. Of all these, it is original spirit which is said to be vacuity, oneness, transparency, and independence. And the element of the wheel of existence that you are will never be able to possess by any of these faculties. But if you saw original spirit, then you would know that it is your true nature without any possible qualification, and that in reality no name can be given to it. You would then also know that what we call void, absolute, purity, detachment, and even original spirit are nothing but words which exist from your point of view alone, only because of your blindness and your ignorance. Simpletons, you're wanting to simulate original spirit spells the end of you. Because you have become monks, followers of the law of the Buddha, and disciples of a famed master, you think you are different from the laymen on whom you look with condescension. You are as ignorant of the original spirit as only the grass of the field can be. You are much engrossed in getting to know who I am. from what parental stock I am issued. Who were my masters? Where I had come from? What I believe? And many other things equally devoid of interest. Some think that if the master of this abode has asked me to speak to you, I can only be an enlightened one. And others, on the contrary, think that they have before them but a scandalous and insolent old fool who should be thrown outside because he has no respect for the sayings and men of the past, as revered by tradition. Neither has he any respect for the sayings and men of the present, exalted by their fame and renown. Thus you hold merely to appearances, and because of this, you fail to perceive in you the true person. Fools, you put mud in your eyes and then complain of being blind. Shaven ones, by completely abandoning yourselves to the will and whims of another, whom you have exalted to the point of relying on him for all things. You imagine your attitude to be just, and thus you are without concerns and without desires. In reality, you merely behave as do very young monkeys, which do not leave their mother for a single moment, desperately clinging to her. So full of fear are they. And, in the course of time, you become like those dried up trees, which look like other trees in winter, but which, when spring and summer come, have no leaves and bear no fruit. In such passivity, how can you hope to see original spirit? Smooth pace, you are already dead. Everyone is enlightened by original spirit. Some see it, others ignore it. That is the only difference between them. As for you, shaven heads, you are as a drunken man who on the outside of an enclosure clings to the bamboo sticks. shouting that he has been shut in, that he is innocent and implores to be set free. He dances. No one but you is holding yourself as prisoner. What a disaster for you. Powerless to see original spirit, and therefore to live life yourselves. You conceal your insignificance by wearing the clothing others have cast off. Be they dead or alive. You accumulate viewpoints and cultivate shades of meaning, differences and convergences. Thus, you strut about. Because you dazzle fools with your tricks, you take yourselves to be enlightened men. Nitwits, you are but chatterboxes and cheap jugglers. You have led yourselves astray. Your ill is incurable. You need no one else to see the light of the sun. All that others can say on this subject is useless to you. You are in the light. It warms your body, and yet you cannot seize it and put it into a box. All attempts to possess it are doomed beforehand to failure. You can neither catch it nor get rid of it. This has already been said by this old chatterbox and by others before him. Likewise, original spirit. It is ever present, as bright as the light of the sun. You cannot increase it or diminish it. Dolts, if you cannot see it, this is due to the rubbish you have cluttered up in your heads. You cannot see it because you are taken over by your efforts to trap it in your thoughts, your adorations, and your practices. You imagine it to be afar, and it is here. You want to grab it, and it escapes from you. If you were entirely simple, you would only need to open your eyes to see it. Just as you see the light of the sun. No need to do anything more for that.